Hello and a very warm welcome. 78 seats go to polls in the last and final phase of the Bihar Assembly elections. Over the next several minutes on this special edition of the News Track, I will ask, who is winning Bihar? And what will this verdict in an assembly election have on the elections which are to come in 2021 and on the national political scenario of India? I'm Rahul Kamal. This is News Track. To my left, my favorite election machine of them all, the India Today Election Intelligence Dashboard. We're going to be back here tomorrow when we bring you our exit poll, and also on the 10th, Counting Day Tuesday. And remember, this is the exact poll, because in the United States, one pollster after another, with all their fancy algorithms, messed up their exit polls yet again. However, India Today has a phenomenal 38 out of 40 correct bang on exit poll track record with its pollster and partner Access My India. Our teams are hard at work. We'll show you what they're doing in just a moment from now. We'll also have a crack panel to ask that big question. Bihar is going to be won by which alliance? Let's take a look at our top focus tonight.
$7.29 crore voters. $3,733 candidates. $243 seats. In less than 24 hours, the last votes will be cast. Who's winning Bihar? The top focus on News Track.
So we are revving up the election intelligence dashboard of the India Today group. So far, 71 seats on the 28th of October, 94, the big one on the 3rd, and then 78 seats tomorrow. This is phase 3 and the last phase, which will determine who's winning Bihar, and a very exciting election coming to its finale. Here are So this is what things look like as we go into the third phase. In 2015, 43 seats were held by the NDA, 32 by the RJD and the Congress, and they've got 44% of the vote versus 27. But remember, a lot of these seats that are up for polls tomorrow, especially in the Simanchal belt, are seats which are very strongly dominated by the Muslim community, especially in the border regions with Bangladesh. Now, the impact of the AI-MIM over there will be crucial. Will the Gathbandhan be able to push through, or can the NDA find a way of pulling the Gathbandhan down? That is what is the state of play right ahead of the exit poll. What I want to do right now, though, is show you our preparations for the big day. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. onwards, our live and continuing coverage of India's most accurate, and at this time, possibly the world's most accurate exit poll. We're calling this now the exact poll. A 95% accuracy rate, 38 out of 40 correct, bang-on predictions over the last 7 years. This is an enviable track record, unprecedented, unparalleled, unmatched in India, but at this moment, unmatched globally, which is why you're now getting set for the exact poll.
Bang on in elections after elections after elections.
The team that wins every election. India Today TV.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the News Today, India's primetime destination, and tonight is the day when we bring you the exit poll results.
3 people who are the man of the match today. 2 of them were on your screen, Messrs. Modi and Shah. This is the third man, Pradeep Gupta.
If we see a lot of discontent with the government on the ground, we, state government, we should not assume that it's going to be voted out.
When India Today predicts election results, the country can rest assured that it has seen what others have missed. So if you're holding your breath till November 10th next week to know who's getting Bihar and about the outcome from the assembly by-polls in Madhya Pradesh, UP and Gujarat, relax. India's leading experts on voting science, who delivered blockbuster predictions in the past elections, are on ground zero in Bihar and in Madhya Pradesh, UP and Gujarat that held by-polls. They'll come out with the projections as soon as the last phase of Bihar voting closes on Saturday, together with India's most respected journalists and political analysts.
And the India Today Axis My India exit poll once again gets it bang on. Very good.
Axis My India is predicting for India Today 339 to 365.
Since their association with India Today in 2016, Axis My India pollsters have predicted 35 elections, of which 33 turned out to be accurate.
India Today's winning streak of exact polls. Access My India gets the
Delhi, Jharkhand,
exit poll.
Haryana, Maharashtra and the mega Lok Sabha elections, to name a few.
The team that gets every exit poll right. The team that wins every election.
But the exercise in Bihar is different this time. An adventurous vote because of the raging pandemic. And it's also complex because of a cocktail of stakeholders and a complex demography.
See, this time Bihar election is a very complex one. And reason being, there are 4.5 alliance and 26 national and regional parties contesting elections. And there are about 6 CM candidates declared, So Bihar, over a period, caste plays the vital role. But this time, there are other demographics playing the big role, which is age groups and gender and also income groups, because there is a EBC, economically backward class, which is also very important.
Around 7.30 crore eligible voters, of them 78 lakh first-timers spread across the state to choose 243 MLAs.
Though we are very confident, but one cannot get right all the time. So we have to be careful while calling this election.
An energetic, enthusiastic Axis My India team is on it once again with full force and expertise to get the first real indication of who Bihar has voted for and why, and the prospects of political stakeholders in Madhya Pradesh, UP and Gujarat by-polls. Stay tuned to India Today through Saturday evening.
If you are a political junkie, which if you're watching this show at this moment, there's a bright chance you are, then this is where you need to be Saturday evening, right in front of a screen, whether it's on TV, mobile, your laptop, watching India Today as we bring you the exact poll. But before that, let's just take a look at the mood in the political camps. Joining us on the broadcast at this moment, I want to welcome first and foremost KC Tyagi, senior leader of the Janata Dal United, one leader who's known Nitish Kumar for decades and really knows what's going on in the Chief Minister's mind. With us also Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament, national spokesperson for the Bharatiya Janata Party. For a perspective from the opposition, we are joined by Supriya Shrinate, spokesperson of the Congress. She's been in Bihar over the last several days, helping lead the Congress's campaign in the state. With us also, we've got Professor Ashwini Kumar. He's a professor at the Tata Institute of Social Sciences for a perspective on what's at play in this battleground. KC Tyagi, I'll come to you first. You've known Nitish Kumar, you've seen his politics over the last 15 years and even before that. No matter what happens in the exit poll tomorrow, what we do know is that there is massive, massive anti-incumbency against Nitish Kumar. Your leader, sir, and Nitish Kumar has come across in this campaign as a hugely diminished leader, getting booed and heckled at his own rallies. You know, would this really, he said recently, be his last poll? Would this election really be the time when people are deciding whether or not they want Nitish Kumar in power? It's not about whether they want the NDA or not, whether they want to give Nitish another chance or not. That's really what this poll is all about.
राहुल, हम पहले भी कई बार पटना में चुनाव के मौके पर मिलते रहे हैं। आपने ठीक कहा, मेरा 45 साल से के आसपास का नीतीश कुमार से रिश्ता है। ये वो दौर था जब देश में नॉन कांग्रेस पॉलिटिक्स अपने पीक पर थी और जयप्रकाश नारायण के आंदोलन में मुलायम सिंह यादव, नीतीश कुमार, शरद यादव, लालू प्रसाद जी, रामविलास जी, हम सब लोग उसमें लगे हुए थे। आपके चैनल पे बहुत जिम्मेदारी से कहना चाहता हूँ, मेरा सभी से प्रेम पूर्वक रिश्ता रहा है। हम सब लोग सोशलिस्ट मूवमेंट में, जेपी मूवमेंट में, लोकदल ऑफ चरण सिंह, विद कर्पूरी ठाकुर, विद वीपी सिंह, डॉट 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 साथ रहे हैं। इन सब के अंदर मैं सबके साथ काम किया, इसलिए मैं कोई डिस्प्रपोर्शनेट कमेंट किसी के बारे में नहीं कहूँगा। नीतीश कुमार सबसे डिफरेंट है। नीतीश कुमार सबसे ज़्यादा आइडियल हैं। नीतीश कुमार पे एक भी इल्जाम डिस्प्रपोर्शनेट एसेट का नहीं है, उस पर एक भी इल्जाम कास्टिज्म का नहीं है। और जो आज की वर्तमान पॉलिटिक्स की जो सबसे बड़ी बुराई है, डायनेस्टी एंड फैमिलिज्म, उसका उस पर कोई आरोप नहीं है। जहां तक कोविड-19 के अंदर चुनाव हो रहे हैं, पहले तो मैं बिहार के मतदाता को बधाई देना चाहता हूं कि ऐसे दौर में भी वो इतनी ऊंची तादाद में वोट डालने के लिए आए, जबकि हमारी सारी अपोजिशन पार्टी चुनाव नहीं होना चाहिए ऐसी मांग कर रही थी, और उतना ही इलेक्ट्रेट आया है अमेरिका के अंदर। नंबर एक। नंबर दो, कोविड-19 इज नॉट ए मैन मेड और नीतीश मेड डिडीज। ये प्राकृतिक प्रकोप है। 1918 से लेकर के आज तक मानवता के इतिहास पे कभी ऐसा संकट नहीं आया राहुल, जैसा इस बार आया है। ऐसी दुनिया की मंदी 1930 के बाद देखने को नहीं मिली। उसका असर यूरोप, अमेरिका पे भी हुआ, भारत पे भी हुआ, 20 बिहार पर भी हुआ। लेकिन जो आपको दिख रहा, जो आपने अपने प्रारंभिक संबोधन में कहा और जो गुप्ता जी कह रहे थे, इस सब के बावजूद भी जो सोशो इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज हैं, और पर्टिकुलरली जिनको आप इग्नोर कर रहे हैं, कुछ कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी ऐसी भी हैं जो एम्पावर्ड हुई हैं, जो गूंगे लोग हैं, जो डम हैं, जो बोलते नहीं हैं, जो घरों से नहीं निकलते हैं, जो टेलीविजन पे नहीं जाते हैं, जो सड़कों पे नहीं जाते हैं, जो मोमबत्ती नहीं जलाते, उनकी भी 50% के करीब आबादी है। एक तबका और भी है राहुल, जिनका 50% का रिजर्वेशन महिलाओं का देश की राजनीति में पहली बार हुआ है। वो भी घर से नहीं निकलते, लेकिन वो कल भी निकलेंगे, वो पहले भी निकलेंगे, और ये चुनाव के नतीजे सबके लिए बड़े सरप्राइजिंग होंगे।
Okay, so KC Tyagi makes an important point, and I want to draw Yashwant Deshmukh on the points that he makes. One is chemistry. If you see where is the Josh in this election, the Josh is very clearly with Tejaswi Yadav. Of that there can be no doubt. If you see whose rallies are more charged up, who's looking more enthusiastic, whose response is more enthusiastic, that's Nitish, that's Tejaswi Yadav. On the other hand, you've got caste arithmetic. You've got the upper caste and the traditional voters of the Bharatiya Janata Party and the extremely backward caste social rainbow coalition stitched by Nitish Kumar, and the women voters who Nitish Kumar has assiduously cultivated over his 15 years in power. How do you view this, Yashwant, as a battle between the chemistry of Tejaswi Yadav versus the solid social coalition that the NDA carries into this battlefield? Whether that coalition holds or not, we don't know yet, but at least the coalition going to the battlefield is stronger than what the RJD and the Congress bring from the other side.
Well, the arithmetic has always mattered in Bihar, Rahul. No arguing that. I mean, if it was not arithmetic, what was it 5 years back when Mahagathbandhan swept? That was just 1 year after Modi swept India. And the honeymoon period was very much on. It was sheer arithmetic that swung that election in Mahagathbandhan's way. And it was sheer arithmetic that swung the 2019 election back in the NDA's way. So arithmetic does matter. But having said that, it's important to understand these are unprecedented times. These COVID times, the way Bihar got impacted, no other state actually got impacted the way the Bihar got impacted with the reverse migration and everything that came along with that. So these are unprecedented times. However, I will just draw your attention to the fact that earlier we were understanding that BJP or the NDA voter, when they are really upset with their own party or alliances, they don't really swing over to RJD or the opposition or the Congress. They generally sit at home. Same happens with the RJD voter and the Congress voter. They don't really swing to BJP that much. So it's a relative turnout which works, it comes into play. I've been always thinking that probably this time in Bihar, you might see a drop in turnout, but that is not happening. Simply because there is something which is diverting the votes in the JDU seats, and that is the candidature of Chirag Paswan. So imagine if Chirag Paswan's equation would not have been in this election, then probably we would not have been thinking of this as so much of hotly contested election in that way.
So let me put that question then to Sudhanshu Trivedi. Would the BJP look back at this campaign and say, what if, agar magar, if LJP hadn't broken away and if Chirag Paswan was on the same ticket as Nitish and the BJP, this election could have been different. Possibly even if the BJP had fought by itself without the JDU, if the JDU, RJD had fought separately and the BJP had fought separately, the anti-incumbency is very clearly against Nitish Kumar, not against the BJP. Will the BJP look back at Bihar after what happened in 2015, say, we miscalculated then? Did we miss a trick or two in Bihar even this time round? Dr. Trivedi?
As far as the anti-incumbency is concerned, I would like to add what K.C. Tyagi has said. Bihar is already traditionally, since long time, is a backward state. But this time, in the last 6 months, was the worst phase. When the COVID crisis was there, when, as Yashwant Deshmukh has said, the reverse migration was there, and lastly, in the last couple of months, the heavy floods were there. And these all factors are having nothing to do with the government or the administration, but obviously, this brings some sort of anti-incumbency on the incumbent government, despite the fact that they have worked very well in the last 15 years. So I can say the election has come when the Nitish Kumar government was facing to the worst period. I think you can say, जिसे कहते नहीं कि दलीय प्रकोप था in the last around 1 century, as K.C. Tyagi has said. Despite the fact, if people are saying that we can win, but the contest is close, I think this is the assessment which the others are giving. Our assessment is we are comfortably winning with a proper majority, and this is based on the fact that if you look at the last 30 years since when the pre-poll survey started coming, with an exception of 2 or 3, like the Delhi of 2013 and the Lok Sabha of 2004, in almost 95% of the cases, the number of seats projected for BJP were less to the final number of tally which we achieved. I am saying since 1990.
Now, that's a good point that you make. Supriya Srinath, does it at some level reflect the relative weakness of the opposition in Bihar? Had the opposition been formidable, this should have been a no contest, like Delhi after Sheila Dikshit was in power for 15 years, because you've got a massive migrant crisis, we're in the middle of a recession, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, and there's anti-incumbency against the chief minister. The fact that this is still a fight which could go either way, and yes, the opposition seems to be springing back, but not in the way it would have if the opposition had been truly formidable. That would have been a knockout punch even before the election began. Supriya Srinath.
No, not at all, Rahul. Actually, before I go any further, I'd like to congratulate your particular show, News Track, for winning the award, and I'm happy and honored to be on this. So congratulations to you and the team. But not at all. I don't think the opposition has been any less formidable. And I'm actually aghast. I've only heard parts of this because there's been an issue with my bandwidth. But whatever I hear, I'm actually quite shocked and surprised that people are saying that, it's coming at a tough time. That tough time should prove the mettle of an able chief minister. Mr. Nitish Kumar has not just been chief minister for the last 6 months. He's been chief minister for 15 years. He's presided over the highest unemployment rate in Bihar. He's presided over Bihar slipping down in education. He's presided over Bihar reaching 72% malnutrition for children. So let's not go away from the fact he's presided over the highest migrant crisis in Bihar. And look at how he behaved during this crisis. It's one thing to say that, there was a global pandemic. Absolutely there was. And there was a global pandemic for the rest of the world. But look at how Bihar treated its own people. And there's a fair amount of resentment and anger in the people, which we will see. I mean, to say the opposition is not formidable. Why do you think? And congratulations to Bihar and to the people of Bihar. Whatever we may say about, the Bimaru states, like we prefer to call the eastern states, the reality is that people in Bihar chose to talk about unemployment, and which is why Nitish Kumar has had to resort to things like, this is my last election, the Prime Minister writing a letter of 4 pages. I mean, why do all this? You've presided over the biggest crisis, which is unemployment. And I'm really glad that Bihar chose to make unemployment an electoral issue, and I hope many more states will follow suit.
You mentioned employment. I want to show you this ground report that we did from Bihar. And remember, a lot of Indian television is panned, very rightly, for not investing enough in field reportage. And that's not something that the India Today, what we find often is that they just want to set up a shout fest, a scream fest, one side against the other. That's not what we believe in at all. We spend a lot of time, energy looking at issues from the ground. So I want to show you this report filed by our National Affairs editor Rahul Srivastav and by Anand Patel from our National Bureau. They traveled across multiple districts in Bihar and they asked this question: if the economy is bouncing back, if industry is saying that they're not finding laborers, why is it that a lot of migrant laborers are simply unwilling to come back to the cities where they were working before the pandemic forced them to flee to their villages? So let's take a look at the special report on the migrant crisis and why these migrant laborers aren't coming back to the cities.
Marketplaces are buzzing. Machines are humming. Signs of revival from a crippling recession.
The green shoots of recovery are visible. Some indicators: 1, the PMI numbers are highest ever. 2, GST collections have crossed the 1 lakh crore mark. We also understand and very clear that should the need arise, the government is open to looking at additional demand stimulus on top of what they've already announced, and the issue is only a matter of timing.
Green shoots are in sight across sectors. The automobile industry is back in high gear. Several companies have reported encouraging numbers. Data from other indicators suggest the economy may be healing faster from the COVID shock than expected. The momentum, if sustained, may help reverse the hardships the virus lockdown induced.
With the economic activities picking up and jobs in urban India opening gradually, workers working in India's massively unorganized sector are back in employment. Those who are back home are very hopeful they will get back on their feet very soon.
Dilip was a school bus driver for 2 decades in Delhi. At his village in Bihar's Begusarai, he is waiting for the campus to reopen so he can return.
अब जाने को मिलेगा क्यों? जब काम ही नहीं है तो क्या करेंगे जाके? काम भी तो होना चाहिए ना।
तो यहाँ फिर कैसे काम चल रहा है?
यहाँ जैसे तैसे है, कुछ जो भी है बना के जैसे तैसे गुजारा कर रहे हैं।
The center has consistently boosted budget allocations and enrollments under its flagship rural employment scheme for states like Bihar. But the rural workforce urges greater coordination with states in order to achieve better results.
दुर्भाग्य की बात है कि यहाँ पर जो मैनेजमेंट की और जो संवेदकों की जो कि इसे नापाक गठबंधन है, यहाँ के लोगों को इतना शोषण किया जाता है। वंचित लोगों का था, यहाँ पर सरकार की घोषणा थी कि जितने आएंगे बाहर से माइग्रेंट लेबर उन सबको रोजगार दी जाएगी, लेकिन उनको मजबूर होना पड़ा। यहाँ से अधिकांश लोग यहाँ से बिहार से पलायन फिर उन्हें करना पड़ा कि भूखे मर तो नहीं सकते थे।
Definite signs of life emerging in some key pockets of the economy. Some others wait to be lifted out of the deep freeze, especially in rural India.
It's a tale of failing promises and falling hopes for these migrant laborers. A large section of them is going back to the cities in search of better livelihoods. No wonder unemployment is a big poll plank of the opposition parties in this election. With camera person Pawan Kumar, this is Anand Patel from Begusarai for India Today.
You know, after listening to all these migrants, what seems very clear, Professor Ashwini Kumar, is that they're in no hurry to come back. And you have a real problem. You're trying to get the economy up and running once again. You want to pump more energy into the revival engine. If the migrants stay back as they seem to want to do, at least till Diwali and after that chhat, why do you see these migrants not wanting to come back? And as far as the Bihar election is concerned, what's the larger sociological picture that it's at play?
Hello, Rahul.
Hi.
Hi, Rahul. Can you hear me?
I hear you well, sir.
Yeah. Rahul, I lost your question halfway.
Okay, so my question is this. Okay, let me start by asking you this. Sitting where you are at the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, what do you think is the larger socio-economic political stakes that is at play in the Bihar Assembly election?
And also, you know, leaning back on my book on Bihar and also continuing work on Bihar, including migrant book, which is coming out shortly. This is a transformational election in the history of Bihar, at least in my living memory. You know, as a sociologist and as a political scientist, this is leading to a, you know, deeper intergenerational transformation of the politics in Bihar. So Tejasvi, Chirag and others are symptomatic of a larger sociological and political transformation in Bihar. So this is the first historic message from Bihar, right, Rahul? And secondly, if you look at in terms of the language of politics in Bihar, again it's very historic. It is I would like to call it is Mandal Plus, you know. And I give credit to Nitish Kumar for transforming Bihar, making it as a policy paradise, you know, as we have been documenting and talking about it, his contribution. But something that Nitish has failed is largely his own success, you know. And his success has led to Bihar seeking more developmental and more entrepreneurial and more aspirational Bihar.
Now that's the issue, Sudhanshu Trivedi, that it's because of the work done by Nitish Kumar that people in Bihar, especially the youngsters, are more aspirational than the previous generation in that state. But that also means that if unemployment, joblessness becomes an issue, which it has, and that becomes the deciding issue in this election, then that could catch on nationally. Is there a concern in the BJP that the issue of joblessness, which Tejasvi Yadav has raised, which has clearly got some resonance amongst voters, if that proves to be a decisive factor on the 10th, then that could become a big headache for the BJP nationally?
I agree to what Ashwini has said. He's saying now the transformation is happening. So it is proven that the so-called transformation in the early 90s by Lalu Prasad Yadav was nothing but a farce in the name of social transformation, social engineering and social justice, whatever they have said. And as far as the youth is concerned, now youth has become very intelligent. They have become very informative. They know what had happened and what can happen. Obviously, like Supriya ji was saying, highest immigration. The highest migration started during the NDA regime. The highest worst situation of education, it started during NDA regime. Madam, I would like to
Sudhanshu ji, with a lot of respect, you
aren't
answering my question. So my question was this, that you yourself have seen how the issue of joblessness, the promise of Tejasvi Yadav that he'll give 10 lakh jobs caught on, especially amongst the youth throughout the election, became one of the major lightning bolts, as it were. If this catches on, could this become a big headache for the BJP nationally?
Yes, of course, the issue of jobs is definitely there, but there are two clear aspects. One, a serious determination, tangible work done, and a FOPA was being given, like 72,000 I will give per year to the farmers, and Modi ji promised 6,000. That was realistic and the people stood by him. So ये 10 लाख कह रहे थे, वो मैं कई बार कह चुका हूँ, 10 लाख आज तक किस कैबिनेट में बनी है ये मुझे नहीं पता. देखिए जैसे वो शोले में कहता ना, हम अंग्रेजों के जमाने का जेलर है, तो ये तो 1937 से कांग्रेस ने प्रोविंशियल असेंबली में अंग्रेजों के जमाने सरकार चलाई है ना, अराउंड 250 से 200. आज तक बता दें किसी कैबिनेट में नौकरी क्रिएट होती है क्या?
Okay, so you know he is calling this a Sheikh Chilli like promise, that it's all right to promise it when you're out in the polls, but it's impossible to deliver. You can't in a cabinet say I'm creating 10 lakh jobs. That's simply not the way job opportunities are created. Supriya Shrinath.
I don't know if Mr. Trivedi is accepting that the Prime Minister was wrong in saying he is going to create 2 crore jobs every year and 10 crore jobs in his first term. He really couldn't do that. So I don't know if he's really, accepting that this could not be done by the BJP, and so he presumes it can't be done by anyone else. I understand, Mr. Trivedi, 2 crore jobs was a tall promise made. It was a promise that you did storm to power in, but I'm sorry, you could not live up to that promise. So you will perhaps think that everybody else is also, जिसको आपने शेख चिल्ली का सपना कहा और मुंगेरी लाल के सपना कहा, वही है. ऐसा नहीं है. बिहार का युवा नौकरी चाहता है. The youth in Bihar wants jobs. It's a very mature youth. It's a youth that understands that unemployment is the serious most problem of our times, and it will vote for that. It will resonate with that. And I will take your question forward, Rahul. The question that you raised, will this become a national debate? It will. You wait and watch after the 10th. I am very glad that despite the fact that Nitish Kumar was in power for 15 years, he chose not to seek votes in the name of his so-called Sushasan. Sushasan के नाम पर वोट नहीं मांगे. पहले हाय तौबा करके वोट मांगे.
Okay, so let KC Tyagi respond to this. Tyagi ji, the fact that just when campaigning is ending, Nitish Kumar को बोलना पड़ रहा है कि ये मेरा आखिरी चुनाव है, जो अंत भला वो सब भला. Does that mean that he's not confident about his record, which is why he's having to play the emotional card? He reminds voters about what happened during Lalu's rule instead of explaining कि मैंने क्या कहता है. वो कहते वो आएंगे तो जंगल राज आ जाएगा. त्यागी जी,
जंगल राज के लाने में, उसको बचाने में कांग्रेस पार्टी का बराबर का योगदान है. इनके मिनिस्टर एडवोकेट कैसे कैसे प्रपोजल लेकर के जंगल राज को बचाने के लिए आते थे, जिसको राहुल गांधी को भी पब्लिकली फाड़ के फेंकना पड़ा. दिस वाज द सिचुएशन. मैं एक और चीज आपसे कहना चाहता हूं कि बिहार की जनता को यह बात बताने से क्यों संकोच होता है कांग्रेस पार्टी के नेताओं को कि यूपीएससी के एग्जाम मैंडेटरी होते हैं. राहुल जी, बिहार में यूपीएससी के एग्जाम भी नहीं होते थे. किन सड़कें, जो जिन सड़कों पे घूम रहे हो, ये सब की सब एनडीए की देन है. एक लंबी फहरिस्त बनी हुई है लड़कियों की, साइकिल भी मिली है, पोशाक भी मिली है, 50% का रिजर्वेशन है, लेकिन दे आर नॉट द वोकल सेक्शन ऑफ द सोसाइटी. इसलिए आपको लगता है 10 तारीख को जो गूंगे और बहरे लोग हैं वो नीतीश कुमार के लिए और एनडीए के लिए वोट करेंगे, एंड अगेन इट विल बी ए बिग डिसअपॉइंटमेंट.
मुझे ये बताओ, बार बार गूंगे बहरे बोल रहे हो, वो आपको वोट देंगे? जो बोल रहे हैं वो तो आपके खिलाफ बोल रहे हैं, जो बोल रहे हैं वो भी तो आपके पक्ष में बोले, जो बोलते हैं वो आपके खिलाफ बोलते हैं और नीतीश से नाराजगी गिनाते हैं. आप ये सिर्फ गूंगे और बहरे, नो डिसरिस्पेक्ट टू देम, आप उनके वोट पे क्यों टिके हो? जो पहले तो लोग डंके की चोट पे, कितना हम और आप बिहार घूमे, लोग डंके की चोट पे खुशी से बोलते थे कि हमें नीतीश का काम अच्छा लगता है. आप नहीं बोलते.
नीतीश कुमार के बारे में एक भी बिहार के आदमी ने ये नहीं कहा है. And when Congress party was with us in the last election, they were saying, I was with Rahul Gandhi in Champaran in the last election of 2015. He was praising Nitish Kumar like anything, that he is the person who brought all these things to Bihar. तो ये तो इनके बदले हुए इक्वेशंस हैं। मैं आपसे बहुत जिम्मेदारी के साथ कहता हूं, जो वहां पर वो हुआ है माइग्रेशन, वो भी कांग्रेस पार्टी और आरजेडी के जमाने में हुआ है। ऐसी रंगदारी थी, ऐसा उद्योग था।
लेट हिम स्पीक प्लीज सुप्रिया।
मैं बीच में नहीं बोलता हूं, सुप्रिया जी प्लीज माइंड इट फॉर फ्यूचर आल्सो। मैं बीच में नहीं बोलता हूं, मैं बहुत सम्मान करता हूं आपका। इसलिए वहां पर जो लॉनेसनेस थी, उसने वो कुछ भी नहीं छोड़ा। इस पर भी एक दिन बहस चुनाव के बाद आप कीजिए कि माइग्रेशन किस सन में ज्यादा हुआ है, 90 से लेकर 2005 के बीच में या 2005 से लेकर 2015 के बीच में। और तीसरा मेरा बड़ा ये है राहुल, आप चूंकि इस तरह के शो करते हो, एक शो ये भी होना चाहिए कि बिहार समेत जो ईस्ट इंडिया है, चाहे भुवनेश्वर है, चाहे कोलकाता है, चाहे आसाम है, वो जो ईस्टर्न इंडिया है उसके साथ क्यों भेदभाव हुआ। और अकेले यूपी नहीं है, बुंदेलखंड, छत्तीसगढ़, मध्य प्रदेश, सबसे ज्यादा माइग्रेशन इन राज्यों से भी हो रहा है।
Okay, so I have time only for one final question, and I want to put that to Yashwant Deshmukh, because while we're doing our own exit poll, he and his team are doing their own post-poll study as well. So Yashwant, what can you tell us? कौन जीत रहा है बिहार का ये चुनाव?
I can tell you whomsoever Pradeep says.
आवाज कम।
Okay, he's saying he'll wait for our exit poll. He's just being very magnanimous. That's. But I want a final word from Sudhanshu Trivedi on the larger implications, the national implications of the verdict tomorrow. Once the exact poll is out, people will know what's happening. You, in fact, likely, as is everyone else who's in politics, to already know what's happening. We have a very good sense of what's already happened, but we don't want to talk about it because we have to respect the EC's guidelines and let polling complete at 6 p.m. tomorrow. What, according to you, Sudhanshu Trivedi, would be the national implications of whatever happens in Bihar? Because you got the big...
Actually, this is a state election.
So hear my question. You got a big poll in Bengal. The Home Minister is already in Bengal. He's leading the charge from the ground. Now, the problem is, if you win, you carry that momentum. If you don't win, would it be a setback because you'd be going into that big do-or-die election, that bloody election in Bihar, without the momentum on your tail? Sudhanshu.
The biggest message which the election has already given. बिहार में जब इलेक्शन होते तो क्या होता था? इतनी फायरिंग हुई, इतने लोग घायल हुए, इतने लोग मारे गए. Nothing happened. When the previously Bihar election used to, there was a phrase, don't cast your vote, vote your cast. Now it is not happening. And finally, मुझे लगता है there was a slip of tongue from Tejaswi ji. Instead of वो 10 लाख सरकारी नौकरी के बजाय शायद वो बोलना ये चाहते थे कि 10 लाख में एक सरकारी नौकरी मिलेगी. That would have been the more realistic what has happened in the Lalu Raj, which is likely to be there. That's why the party which was running provincial government for British time was unable to give an answer. Then in which cabinet in the entire history of India the jobs are created?
Okay, the barbs.
What were you doing for 15 years?
The barbs have been flung. It's one thing to promise 10 lakh jobs, as the 2 crore job promise we've also seen. It's another to be able to deliver. But the reality is, in this campaign, that particular promise has caught on.
Sir, there was a 2 crore employment opportunities and 10 lakh government jobs. They have said sarkari naukri. So that's why I am saying
sir, 2 crore में से कितना कर दिया वो ही बता दीजिए. How many jobs have been eroded in the last 6 years? You want me to give you statistics here of job
creation? How many jobs were created in the last 15 years of Lalu Raj?
Please tell me.
2000. जिसे कहते हैं
I'm talking about 2 crore jobs that you promised us storm to power. How many jobs have you?
Yes, of course. In the Mudra Yojana, there were 10 crore jobs were created. Job opportunities we have said, not a government job. There was not a government job, and you are saying government job. So ये rate है. This is not the number of the government job. This is the rate of the government job which is going to come.
2 crore government jobs have been created.
Is that your claim? मैंने तो कहा rate बताया गया.
Sudhanshu Trivedi, Supriya Srinath, you know, it's an interesting, engaging debate, but the fact is the people of Bihar have largely already made up their mind. And tomorrow at 6 p.m. we'll tell you what the exact poll says. Huge amounts of curiosity about the India Today Access My India poll. Please don't call, please don't message, don't poke us on WhatsApp or on social media. We can't tell you what's happening right now. You will need to watch our live coverage on India Today television starting 6 p.m. tomorrow. But I just want to for a moment talk about this very enviable track record. I was seeing what Nate Cohn, Nate Silver and the whole gang of pollsters with their very sophisticated algorithms were up to in the United States. They messed up big time in an election which they claimed would be a massive victory, a historic victory for Biden. It turned out to be anything but. But since 2013, Axis My India and India Today have had a 95% accuracy rate. Out of 40 polls, 38 being bang on. Now, there are two polls we got wrong. One was Karnataka, the other was Tamil Nadu. Mercifully, this is neither. But for the rest, whether it's states, small states, municipal elections, by-polls, and remember, we'll have by-poll results for you tomorrow as well. From Jammu and Kashmir to Kerala, from Gujarat all the way down to Assam. This is a phenomenal, enviable track record, not just in Indian polling context, but in a global context as well. It's a track record we're very proud of, and knock on wood, this is a track record we'll be able to maintain. So do tune in, 6 p.m. Saturday evening. This is your election destination. You don't need to wait till the 10th. You're on board the news track. India Today has won big at the News Television Awards 2020. India Today Group Vice Chairperson Kali Puri won the Hall of Fame Award. News Track won the Best Daily News Bulletin Award. I won the Best Anchor Award. Rajdeep won the Best TV Presenter Award. India Today Group won a total of 23 awards at the News Television Awards for 2020.
I'd like to thank the Indian Television Group and Mr. Anil Vanware, its founder, for this award. There are two trends that are going side by side in the world today. One is the democratization of news. Anyone with a phone can now be a news source. And the second trend is the rise of fake news on account of this. Though we totally welcome the trend which has made the news process so inclusive, we have a very important role as media now, not just to break news, but to constantly bust fake news. So at this juncture, to get an award which recognizes the work that we do is especially significant. Trust is a media organization's most valuable equity, and I'm so glad, viewers, that you kept it with us. I would also like to thank my team that works very hard to keep this trust between us and you.
Thank you, News Television, for all these awards, and most importantly, a very big thank you to every single one of our viewers for your time and your trust that makes these awards possible. It redeems our pledge to do the journalism that will define the best journalism of this generation. Goodbye, and do tune in 6 p.m. tomorrow for the exact poll. Bye-bye.